finished On the Wild Side by Kristen Proby. It is performed in dual by Samantha, Brentmoor and Zachary. This is the second book in this series, which I want to say is called The Wilds of Montana, but I'll double check and pop it up here. So I did the book before this, and we meet Abby, we meet Brady, and we also meet Abby's little girl Daisy. And seeing Brady's interactions with them, I already knew I was going to love their story and that I was going to love him. And that opinion has not changed. The amount of swooning, which nearly always revolved around how he was with Daisy, like, it was just so heart-melting. He went all in pretty early on, and I loved that their relationship was like, they knew what they wanted and they were going to go for it, even though they knew that, you know, Abby had some trauma in her past that she wasn't ready to talk about and was having nightmares. There is some triggering stuff in this, and I'll pop it at the end so that those that don't want triggers or spoilers, even though they're not spoilers, will be at the end, just so that you can stop by then. I just adored how this was written, and we see the couples from the other books and the family and how they interact, and it is so, like, you just sit there and you're like, I want to be a part of this family, like, why can't I go? Samantha Brentmoor as Abby was absolutely stunning. I think one of the things that Samantha does so well is conveying those different types of emotions for whatever is happening, right? If it's a happy scene or a sad or emotional scene, or even that scared and unsure. I'm literally just listing emotions. What is happening to me? But you know, you get that feeling. And I mean, there are things in this book, like, if you've seen my other content from this book, you'll see the things that have affected me, and I can tell you those would not have affected me if it wasn't performed the way it was. 95% sure about that. Maybe I'm just a bit tender at the moment. Shit. See what is happening. Had to take a breather for a minute. But, you know, I think there are certain things where things, you know, kind of overlap, and although it's not your experience, you can relate to it in a way. And in this book there are several things that I could relate to, and I think adding in Samantha's performance, especially that fear of those things happening, I was like, oh, she in my mind, like, what is happening? And so it impacted me, and I think that just shows how strong of a performer Samantha is, and how she can really dig deep and get those emotions out of people, and I might curse her when it happens, but I also love it. And like, I was sat here listening, and literal tears streaming down my face, laughing, going, I fucking hate you. I don't. I was also kissing Kristen Proby as well, like, why are you all doing this to me? Why are you messing with my emotions? But it is a really powerful story, this one. Not saying that the others aren't, but you know, we have Brady, who is a bull rider. He lost his best friend through bull riding, so he won't have anybody there. He is in his last season and he doesn't want to be away from Abby and Daisy. They're his family. And I loved how, you know, he was all in and he was like, these are my family, I love them. And he had no qualms about telling them that. And I adored it. And there were some scenes with Daisy that just melt your heart, like the things that she was saying and how she was being and the interactions, and it was just lovely. There is a scene early on where Chase comes, which is one of the brothers, and as soon as he sees its hair, he's like, right. I love that whole protection thing. And same with Ryan, it's like something happens and it's like, I'll deal with it. And you're just like, this is we need people like this in our lives, right? Like, honestly. But yeah, it was a beautiful story. And of course, this is all over the place, man. This is all over the place. But yeah, so he's a bull rider. She obviously has some trauma she's working through, and is one of the women-led businesses that we've seen in previous books. And there is also, you know, due to her trauma, due to her past, some things that she says or does, and the way that Brady reacts to that, like, melt your heart. Absolutely loved it, and you should all check it out. Now, if you're still here and you want the triggers, so there is an attempted sexual assault. I was not prepared for that, and that actually hit me harder than I ever anticipated. Again, performance, I think, with that. There is nightmares based on past abuse, which is referred to, and we do see a little bit of it in her memories and in her nightmares of physical, mental and sexual abuse, emotional abuse as well, which can be hard to listen to. And I think that's the thing, reading this is not the same as listening, right? And I think that's why it's so impactful. There is death of a spouse, there is death of a friend, there's a little bit of body shaming and some not great thoughts on body image based on her past trauma, which makes perfect sense. So yeah, it's a heavy book, but the way Kristen has written this is so brilliant to me, because it's heavy, but there is so much levity to it at the same time, and it was an absolute joy to listen to.